Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlicker, shills, debt slaves, serfs, peasants, vassals, minions, meat sacks. I'm Useful Idiot. Welcome. And let's go to the good old USA and look at this little tidbit about the election. And my hat tip to one of my newer regulars, Bank of Spirit, another one of my erudite, enthusiastic supporters here at a Useful Idiot Central Headquarters. And he sent me the story, and it's right up my alley. So hat tip to them. And it's the story about how bots on Twitter, which account for 20% of all election tweets, were active during this campaign. 400,000 artificial intelligence infused bots operating on Twitter, tweeting about the 2016 election. A new study reveals this from University of Southern California. So very interesting. Of course, this overlaps a couple of my favorite things: manipulation and election fraud, as well as robotics and artificial intelligence. So a great article. The sheer number of bots is enough to sway discourse, direct conversations, and polarized conversations. So really, really fascinating. So these bots are similar to the kind of things that we've seen operating in social networks all over the world for the last decade or so. But now the upgrade in artificial intelligence makes them operate to the point where people can't really tell whether they're having a conversation with a person or a robot. And so that's amazing. And then you take these 400,000 AI infused bots, and then exponentially they create these tweets. So one bot can post 1,000 tweets an hour. So you multiply that exponentially, and you can see how these dialogues, these artificial dialogues that appear out in Twitter land, can have an effect on people having these conversations. And 1,000 tweets an hour, amazing. And they even mimic the complex behavior of humans. There's pauses between comments to try and act like an actual person, but they are more complex and have more AI than the old bots. So people really think they're interacting with people. So amazing way that public opinion can be molded. Bernays never imagined anything quite like this. And so there's another area of robotics that's going to replace shills and trolls out there. Who knew? But this reminds me of an old experiment that showed up in the new documentary called Hypernormalization by Adam Curtis. His newest documentary, which I highly recommend to everyone. Very important film. But he brought up a study that was done back in the very, very earliest days of computers being developed. A guy developed a computer therapist, and it was used in experimental therapy for a lot of different people, and these people became very attached and were completely convinced that this machine was interacting with them when the guy doing the experiment, of course, revealed that there was no interaction whatsoever. They just programmed the right questions in there, and particularly to feed a question back to someone. What can I do about my personal problems? Oh, what can you do about your personal problems? And then all of a sudden these people think they have a sympathetic ear, and they become attached to these machines that have no personal connection to them whatsoever. And so anyway, just the fact that people are interacting with these social network robots is really pretty hilarious, having probably extensive conversations, because I know my experience with disciples out there and trolls and shills, they can engage you for quite some time if you let them. So anyway, great story. 400,000 robots out there on Twitter having conversations with twats. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too?